Hello everyone and welcome back again. So today we're going to be planting garlic. It is Monday the 14th of October. I'm a few days later than what I was hoping to have got them planted, but that doesn't matter. We're going to be planting a few different sorts of garlic this year in a few different ways, but we're going to go over all that in a minute. So these are all my own saved garlic from last year, the year before, the year before that. I've been growing the same garlic for about 3-4 years now. So here we've got the pips off the elephant garlic. So we're going to plant some of those. They'll take about 2 years to reach something like this. These are all my smallest clove bulbs from the original garlic, which is a soft neck. It's pretty sure it's Provence or Rhapsody White, but like I said, I've been growing this for about 3-4 years now. So these are some of the larger bulbs. These are the ones that we're going to be planting. These are all the rounds of the elephant garlic, so they never formed individual cloves, they're just one solid round. So we're going to be planting all of those and hopefully get something like this in return. And then we've got the elephant garlic, and we're also going to be planting some of that. Right then, so first ones we're going to be planting today are the soft neck, and I'm going to go ahead and start picking out some of the biggest cloves out of these. Just separate them up and pop them into this tray ready for planting. It's best to do this as close to the planting time as you can, because you don't want the actual clove drying out too much. So it is best to keep them whole for as long as you can. Now, like I said, these are just some of the biggest ones which I'm going to be planting. Now, I've been growing this garlic for 3-4 years, and to start off with, that is probably bigger than anything that I got to start off with, and the individual cloves were no bigger than that. And I was going to get new stock in and try again, but I saved again my biggest ones, replanted those, and eventually, as this variety's acclimatized to where I am, they're slowly getting bigger, and I'm ending up with some decent sized bulbs after 3 to 4 years of growing the same garlic. And also last year I did the usual way, planting it in the ground, but I also did a little experiment and planted some in the shopping baskets, which we will be going to have a look at after. And last year I had probably the best harvest of garlic that I've had, and they were in the shopping baskets. The ones that were in the ground didn't seem to do as well. They still did really well, don't get me wrong, but the consistency was a lot better growing them in the shopping baskets. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of them this year and less in the ground. And I'm also going to be doing a few more little experiments, trying a few different ways, different amounts in each tub, and I'm also going to be planting bulbils off the elephant garlic, the rounds off the elephant garlic, individual cloves off the elephant garlic. But what I'm also going to do is try planting a couple of whole bulbs just in a pot on their own and see how that fares out. I think it was Scott over at Cuckoo Cottage did it last year and he had some good results doing it that way. So it's worth having a go. Right then, I'll pick through the rest of these, get them all separated, we'll have a quick look at them then, and then we'll go out and show you where I'm going to be planting all these. Right, so that's a decent amount of those picked, that should be more than enough there. A couple there that I've damaged whilst pulling them apart, they can just be used in the kitchen, and all the smaller ones, they can also be used in the kitchen. So we'll go out and do these first, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with the rest of them. Right then, so this is where they're going to go, in these 6 baskets here, and I've also got another 5 up on top of the compost bays over there. We'll have a look at them in a bit, but these are the first 6 that we're going to be doing, and I do apologise about the shadow, not much I can do about that. I have prepared these beds about a week ago. It's all sieved compost from the bed outside the front of the polytunnel. So about a week ago I added some fish blood and bone and chicken manure pellets into all these beds, and I left it uncovered for a week just so curious Stella over there could come and investigate and probably dig out all the chicken manure pellets. But if I was growing these in the ground or using fresh compost, I probably wouldn't have fertilised these until the spring, because everything they need up until then is in this little bowl. All we're doing at the moment is trying to get good root growth, which is why we're going to be using some mycorrhizal fungi again, which helps promote root growth. We're not looking for green growth this time of year. The harsh winters will probably kill that back anyway, but we just want the plant to root and get established in these pots over the winter. Right then, so I've been messing about with the spacing between these. So last year, this is how I did it. I did 6 in each tub. You know, there's a good 5 inches to 6 inches between them, all right the way around. You know, plenty of space, and they did really well. But I think I could get more in these baskets than that. So I've laid some out like this in the 5 pattern, and we managed to get 8 in there. But I've also done 3 rows of 4, and that way we'll get 12 in that one. So I'm going to do 1 of each, and then the other 3 I'll do 12 in them. Or I might do 2 of each actually. Yeah, that's what I'll do, is I'll do 3 rows of 4 in this one, do the 5s in that one, and do 6 in that one. So it's mirrored, if you know what I mean. Right then, so we'll try it like that, give this a go, and see what the results are at the end of the season. Right then, so planting these couldn't be any simpler. You've got pointy end at the top, and your basal plate at the bottom. This is where the roots come out of, so that end down. And all I'm going to be doing with the mycorrhizal fungi is just going to fill up the lid of this little pot. It's a really handy pot. Just have to say thank you to my sister, she got me that. And all I'm going to do with these is just dip them in the rooting powder, and push the bulbs down a good 2-3 inches. No need for a bulb planter or anything like that in these, because this has all been sieved. It's all really soft compost, so it should give plenty of room for that bulb to grow. And hopefully give us a nice crop for next year. But this year I'm covering all odds, not taking any chances. So I'm going to try it a few different ways, a few different places, and I'm not just going to be growing here next year. I've also got somewhere else that I can set up a little garden. But we'll talk about that in a future video. For now, I'll get the rest of these in and show you what we're going to do afterwards. Right, well, that's all them in there. There's 2 left over, we'll keep them for something else. But in here now, we've got 6, 8, 12, 12, 8 and 6. So we've had a little play about with the spacings. That's a total of 52, something like that. So all I'm going to do now is just flatten the tops of these off. Make sure those holes are all filled in. I'm not going to bother watering these, as this is quite wet in the bottom anyway, and it is forecast a little bit of rain later on this evening. Right, now that's all them in. I'm just going to give them a good mulching with some leaves. Now these are ones that I collected last year. This is just off the top of the bay that we've got them in over there. So this has already started to break down, and over the winter will continue to break down, and it will feed the soil as well, and it will also protect the bulbs from any really harsh frosts, which we don't really get here, but better to be safe than sorry. Right, that should do for them for now. Because what I'll do is, over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be out collecting more leaves. So I'll top them up when I've got some fresh stuff then. And then come spring, we'll remove this and top the beds up with some fresh compost. And maybe add a little bit of fertiliser then. The only other thing that I want to do to these is get a net over them, and that is mainly to stop the dogs and Bobby pulling these out, but you will also get birds as the young shoots come through. Birds see that and they will pull them out. You can just pop them back in, but it does slow down the root growth. So instead of using some of the ones that I've already got, I went out and bought some scaffolding netting. This is only 1 metre wide, but it's 10 metres long. I only need it to go over these. And it's, like I say, mainly just to stop the dogs and Bobby getting in these trays. Once the plants are established next spring, the nets can come off. Right, so what I'll do is I'll pop into the shed after, get a couple more clips just to clip this down front and back. But that is perfect for what I want it for. It'll just keep the dogs out for now and definitely keep the birds out and hopefully slow Bobby down just a little bit. Right, so that's the 56 cloves of the soft neck garlic planted. We'll go and have a look, see what we're going to do with the elephant garlic and the bulbil. I did also forget to mention that I have planted 5 in each of these planters at the side of the polytunnel, and I have done 30 in cell trays just for backup, and I might plant some in the polytunnel as well. The next lot we're going to go and plant are going to be the bulbils off the elephant garlic and the rounds off the elephant garlic, and we're going to put the individual cloves of one elephant garlic in the same place. So I'm going to be planting them all up here, and to start with we've got the bulbils. These are just going to go about 1.5 inches deep, and I'm not going to bother dipping these in the mycorrhizal. But there's 12 in there, and hopefully that should give us 12 of these, which in the end will give us 12 bulbs with cloves like that. So I'm going to do a bit different with the the rounds. I'm going to do 6 in this one, 4 in this one, and 3 in this one, and then we're going to do 4 individual cloves in this one. I'm going to be dipping them all in the mycorrhizal and just planting them as deep as I can in these baskets, which they're only 8 or 9 inches deep, so they're probably going to go down about 6 inches. So I'll get all them planted and then show you what we're going to do after. As you can see, they're going down pretty deep. And the reason I'm playing around with the spacing so much is I'd like to know how much I can get in one of these baskets and whether or not it affects the size and the outcome in the end. But if I can get 4 bulbs with cloves like that on it out of these, I'll be very happy. And I'll just fill those holes in. Not going to bother watering them. This is moist enough, and it is going to rain this afternoon. If it doesn't, then I'll give them a quick water. I will top these up with some leaves, exactly the same as the other baskets, once I've been and collected some, and eventually, if need be, I can pop a net on here. I've just used these offcuts of the PVC piping, so there should be enough of the other net left over to do this as well, if need be. So the next lot of elephant garlic, size on some of these cloves, is going to be going in the back of this bed right the way along. I've cleared enough space. I've just pushed the foliage of the parsnips back and topped up the bed a bit. So hoping to get all these in a row along the back there, or at least as many as I can. I'm going to be planting them about 6 to 8 inches apart and about 6 inches deep. This bed will be getting topped up again once we've harvested the rest of these parsnips. The whole bed will get topped up a good few inches again. But I'm not going to cover these with the leaves. They should be more than okay in there. So doing exactly the same with these. Basil plate at the bottom, dip it in the mycorrhizal, and then just pushing them down as far as I can. This ground here is all sieved compost, so it is quite soft. If the ground was harder, I'd just use a dibber, but there really is no need. Right, so it's just starting to rain, but we've got 16 elephant garlic planted all along the back here. We've still got quite a few left, so I'm going to try in a few different other spaces, but we'll head on into the polytunnel, out this rain for a minute, and do a bit more in there. Right then, so the last way we're going to try today is doing 3 whole bulbs in a 30-litre container. I'm just going to snip the tops off these. These are 3 of the smaller ones. Just snip the tops off them. But as you can see, these are 3 of the smaller bulbs. Again, I'm just going to dip the bottom and push that down as far as I can in there. I will water these ones in, just because this compost has been in the polytunnel and it is quite dry. And I will add a label to these ones, because we don't want to forget which is which. So I'm going to keep these in the polytunnel for now, but they will be outside eventually. I am going to be doing a few more different ways of planting, but I'll do another video on that. I'm going to try and do a bit of a compost comparison with a few different ones and see how they grow in different sized containers. But for now, that's how I'm planting up my garlic this year. Let me know in the comments how you're doing yours, and if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Right then guys, that's it for me today. That is, I think, 6 different ways of planting garlic. We'll just have to wait until the end of June, July to find out how they did, but I'll do regular updates on them. Bye for now.